Good evening and welcome to WANA Live, the reading series of the Writers Association of Northern Appalachia. I'm your host, Damian Dressick. This is your other host.
Christina Fasonic. How are you
How'd you
tonight?
get over there, Christina? It's very sneaky of you.
I don't know. It's the, magic of technology. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. We are closing out the semester um, at the University of Pittsburgh, so it's that closing out the semester feeling.
Yeah, same thing at Penn West. I have to say, after coming home from a very long day, I was surprised to see that somebody had mowed my lawn, which is like my least favorite chore. And I try to find other people to do it for me, but I didn't ask, and it was a surprise. And it turns out, and I think our viewers will get a kick out of this, that the guys who run the shaggin' wagon mowed my lawn. No, all I'm going to say is
I don't think you need to say any more, Christina.
no, I do, because
No, I don't think
they
this is
also
a family show, Christina.
mowed my neighbor's lawn for free.
So they're
Um,
promiscuous. Anyway, let's move
no,
on to
there are
the
three
let's get
nuns.
our. We
It
have a
isn't
guest tonight,
that.
don't we? Who, don't we
Anyway,
have Sara Henning?
yes, we do. We have a
All
guest
right, let's
tonight.
get her out here before this goes off the rails.
I think it already went. I don't think it's on the rails any longer. So, Sara Henning is the author of the poetry collections Burn from Southern Illinois University Press, a Crab Orchard series and poetry editor selection, Terra Incognita from Ohio University Press, winner of the 2021 Hollis Summers Poetry Prize, and View from True North, Southern Illinois University Press, winner of the 2017 Crab Orchard Series and Poetry Open Competition and the 2019 High Plains Book Award. She was awarded the 2015 Crazyhorse Lynda Hull Memorial Poetry Prize and the 2019 Poetry Society of America's George Bogin Memorial Award. She is an assistant professor of creative writing at Marshall University, go West Virginia, where she coordinates the A.E. Stringer Visiting Writers Series. And I always want to go to that because they have such great writers. But alas, it's always at a time that I can't go. So let's bring her on the show.
Hi.
Hi, Sarah.
Good
Hi.
evening, Sara. How are you tonight?
Oh, it's a long year, but I'm happy to be here. Thank y'all so much for hosting and bringing me on, and I don't know, doing all of this good literary citizenry. It's what I always tell my students. You got to love your community. And, that's how we survive.
Yes, for
It's
sure.
wonderful to see. It was wonderful to see you in person at ASA, but
Mhm.
it is also wonderful to have you on the show, and we're looking forward to hearing some of your work.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to read some for y'all.
Yeah, so we will let you do that. We're going to disappear and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Sounds good. All right, everybody. I'm going to read from my latest collection of poems, Burn. And what's really special for me about this, besides the fact that it was published by a press that I love, Southern Illinois University Press, is that on the 22nd, Burn is going to turn 1 year old. So happy birthday to my little book baby. I'm going to read a couple of poems for you tonight. The first one is called Stealing Ariel, and it is a pantoum, which for those of you who maybe are a little less familiar with form, it basically has the second and the fourth lines of the stanza becoming the first and the third of the next. And the only other thing that you're going to need to know is that Ariel is a book of poems by Sylvia Plath. Stealing Ariel. What had I become the night I dreamed I shot my mother's Smith & Wesson pistol? I'd never held an oil-slick metal barrel, fingered the grip of a powerful god. I only dreamed I shot my mother's pistol, but my aunt's man told police I cased his Jeep. 17, I'd never fingered the grip of a powerful god. Under his grin, his vows are bitter sugar. He told the cop on call I cased his Jeep, loosened a lug nut, ice-picked his tire. Under his grin, his vows are bitter sugar. She tried to kill my wife, he said she'd kill. He said she ice-picked my tire, his lies stiff as gin in the morning. She tried to kill my wife, he said she'd kill. He hated my mother, which meant he hated me. His lies stiff as gin in the morning. Lights from the cop's car glinted and burned. He hated my mother, which meant he'd hurt me. The cop looked at me like one of his daughters. Lights from the cop's car glinted and burned. Last week I'd stolen my mother's copy of Ariel. The cop looked at me like one of his daughters. My aunt's man said, "Honey, your life is over." I thought of Sylvia Plath, her lines, "Your body hurts me as the world hurts God." "Your life is over," the cop said, "if you call my station again." Your body hurts me as the world hurts God. I'd never held an oil slick metal barrel. If you call my station again, he said. What had I become that night? I dreamed. I want to, for my next piece, read a poem that honors the survivors and just acknowledges the horrible destruction that happened when Hurricane Helene, just raged her way across the Southeast. My father was buried in Asheville, where he died trying to save West Asheville Baptist Church. And so I wanted to share with you a poem in which I tell you about how hurricanes have touched my life. In 2020, Hurricane Laura began as a large tropical wave off of the west coast of Africa, and that was August 16th. And on the 25th, Laura entered the Gulf and escalated to a Category 4, and it made landfall in Cameron, Louisiana. And it was the strongest hurricane to strike the southwest Louisiana since 1851. And it was it was Category 4, and it was expected to hit the town I was living in at the time, Nacogdoches, at 2 a.m. And what ended up happening was that the strength weakened and it became a tropical storm, and we were spared, but so many families just weren't. And so I always like to read this poem because it's dedicated to the survivors of those who've lost their lives to hurricanes and other acts of God. May they rest in peace. A brief history of hurricanes. As Hurricane Laura raged toward the heel of Louisiana's boot, we watched a coroner wheel our neighbor out of his front door on a gurney. With his body went the whole alphabet of the world. We stood there, husband, staring through blinds, embarrassed we didn't know his name. The stars, they're dead before their light ever reaches us. His living room dark, save for a single torchlier, its sprawl of glow bleeding out. I want to know why darkness can be interrupted by the idea of a star, as if time never existed. Time, it slips within me. My mother's blood, my father's blood, blood of a whole generation, that furious haunting. My aunt's double wide clutched up by Hurricane Andrew, my mother planking windows to quash the electric hymn of water, skin, David shelling Savannah with my father's fury. You stayed up, husband, waiting for the strike, horror, water, an eye that spares us. But I'm lost in sleep's turbine, images of our neighbor spliced against my Aunt Schnauzer, the one she left in a moment's flash, hurling his scrawny body at their trailer's door. I wonder if she's haunted by his bark twisting through metal as her children sprint for the car. No room for him among heaps of clothes, wolf chili cans, wedding photos, piles of what she can carry. In my dream, my neighbor has risen above the rage of any water. And then I've just got one very short one for you. It's the title poem of the book. And it just talks about how we celebrate. And if we're not celebrating, we should celebrate the way our bodies carry us through this world. Burn. If middle age has a shape, it would be the body singing word by luscious word. My body's glory caught in my lungs. If I could, I would uncry myself, send my body back to my mother's womb, where my father once signed his name in blood. I hung there, seam of cells fixed to my holy order, love's microscopic blaze, so much like breathing. My heart still twined to my mother's. Her body, it held me like she hadn't given up. I longed to be pulled from my mother some August long ago and lie on her chest, naked, cord uncut, hair matted to my skull. I want to fill again the hollow in my mother death will not take as its house. Teach me, body, to unscar what is scarred, to cherish the uncharitable, my breasts, whipped philosophers, my eyes, a murder of crows. My thighs are engines, leave traces of fire as I rise up. Watch me rise up. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Those were terrific. I really enjoyed the first one, and I'm so glad that you explained a Pantone, because I was it's not a shampoo.
I love Pantoums and Sestinas and all those beautiful forms. They're gorgeous.
There's so
That
much
was
to
great.
write.
Yeah. I love the line, his lies as stiff as gin in the morning.
Yeah.
Really descriptive.
Thank you. I had a pretty rough, shall we say, childhood slash, adolescent years. It was what it was. And I just remembered that and he became my uncle. And he just said, honey, your life is over, and I don't know, in some ways, I guess in that toxic way, like that's one of those things. Every time I was like, I can't study for that test anymore. Like, I don't know how I'm going to keep my scholarship to go to school. I would he'd be on my shoulder and whispering that in my ear, like in psychologically or something. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to make an A on that test.
I love that. I love that. And I think that, that reference and engagement with Ariel, which is, so many things I have to say. Some of my favorite lines ever. Love set you like a fat gold watch. How can you not be swept up in that? And I think that those connections are that was very, very well done.
Oh, thank you so much. I love Sylvia Plath's work so much. I feel like so many of us, we encounter, when we're looking for poetry, we encounter her, and she's just such I don't know, if I have to have a gateway drug for anything, I think Sylvia Plath should be the gateway drug for poetry.
I like that.
Well, just let's stop at poetry. I love the rhythm of that work. I love the way you built meaning, kind of this sort of cut and paste kind of way, and the way things work together. The sort of palimpsestuous business of the poem. It was wonderful stuff.
Thank you, Damien.
I really like the work about hurricanes too. It reminded me of Philip Gerard's essay, What They Don't Tell You About Hurricanes. This sort of meditation. He had been through hurricanes, and all this stuff. And he says, it's not the headlines. It's not the big picture that gets you. It's the small things. And I loved what you said about, thinking about your neighbor. You didn't even know his name, and how the stars are dead before we ever see their light. I think that really summed up like this, how overwhelming these events are. And there's so many more of them now than
There.
before.
Oh gosh, with global warming. Oh my gosh. I mean, all of these awful things happening all the time. And,
Yeah.
It's awful.
So what what was the sort of impetus behind the new book?
Yeah. No, that's a good question. My second book, Terra Incognita, was about my mom, losing her fight with stage 4 colon cancer in 2016. And, I like to think that book, it definitely was about grief and overcoming grief. But I really, when I look back at it and I kind of meditate on sort of what it meant for me in my grief journey, it was really about kind of how grief touched my life and how I was kind of able to, I mean, I don't think you'll ever make peace with grief, but you'll definitely kind of learn. What was it? A friend told me that you learn to carry it with you, right, wherever you go. And so Burn was very much a book that I kind of think of as, and it's strange, if you look at View from True North and Terra Incognita and Burn, they're kind of like a trilogy. And I didn't think about that at all when I was writing. But when I was thinking about Burn, I was thinking about this weird thing that happened after Mom died. Like, time didn't make sense. Like, someone would email me and I would be like, oh yeah, I mean, it was, I know you emailed me yesterday. They'd be like, I emailed you 3 weeks ago. I mean, it was literally like I'd completely lost my internal compass. And so I started getting really obsessed about like reading about time and trying to figure it out. And, I got really excited about Delmar Schwartz quote that I actually have in the front of my book. I don't want to screw it up because it's late. And I've been teaching all day, so I'm just gonna reference it here. What will become of you and me? This is the school in which we learn. Beside the photo and the memory, the time is the fire in which we burn.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And so I thought about how time is our only real metric for resilience. Like, even if it doesn't make sense, like it's a human construction, but if we don't capture all those moments that make us, and we don't write them down and we don't cherish them, and even in like the little trauma blackouts we have, if we can't grab them and try to make some order out of them, like, I don't know, I think that's the only way we can survive anything.
Yeah, those are great points. And I think it's interesting that you say these things are like a trilogy, because I thought that what you read tonight felt like a trilogy. That the beginning, the first work, and how it flowed into the next, and how there were lots of echoes in the last poem that you read as well.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way. That's why I always tell my students, like, once you're done writing something, like, I mean, it's not yours anymore. It's whoever is listening to it or reading it. It really, I think, you can learn so much about your own work just by sharing it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure. Having somebody else read your work out loud, and then you hear it in someone else's voice, and you're like, wait a minute. I was talking to somebody who had just finished getting their audiobook produced, and they had an actor, a voice actor, do that. And she said, and it's a memoir. And she said, to hear like my life story, but coming out of somebody else's mouth, that in their voice, I learned so much about myself. So, and I thought that was really interesting, and the role that our own voice that plays in our head plays in our understanding of ourselves, and how that comes out in the page. And it's complex, so complex.
It's so complex. And also it's so weird when even now, when I hear myself recorded, I'm like, oh, I sound like that. Oh no,
Yeah, right. I know. I think we all have that dislike of the sound of our own voice, or some people probably should think that, they talk about, maybe they shouldn't like the sound of their own voice. So Oh, this was wonderful. What are you working on now?
I've been working on a book about Vincent van Gogh.
Cool.
If you can't tell from
So that is not up there simply to celebrate the electromagnetic solar storms we're experiencing today.
that too, but also just my lifelong love. And I was like, if we can't write about the things we love, it's a good thing to write about.
There's a show of Van Gogh's work. Is it the MoMA now, or is it? I can't remember, but I noticed that there was. I got some email about it.
I know that they have a couple of his paintings at the MoMA and then a few at the Met. I was actually there this past summer, clearly spent on the train up to New York City just to hang out with his paintings. I did that for a while. I'll probably go up again if I can. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the latest installment is, but
it's all the paintings at Arla or from. I'll have to look. Oh wow. Yes, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, it was lovely. I'm so glad that you did, and it's still Poetry Month, and we want to keep celebrating Poetry Month. And I don't know what we would do without poets coming to the rescue and saying, I have words. I think we've all seen that meme, the whole world is on fire and you want some poems? And of course we do. We want poems. That's what else could we need? I mean, what else can help at this moment? So
true. It's so true. We must love one another or die, right?
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Damien, did you want to add anything?
Yes. Well, for those of you who are Van Gogh fans out there, there is a Van Gogh show that is the Arla exhibition unpacks Van Gogh's deep fascination with the night sky.
Oh, is it at the Met? Is it at MoMA? Is it in New York City?
Let's see. That's why it was. I think. It's in Arles, France. It's at the Foundation Vincent van Gogh.
Okay, so I can't go.
I think they borrowed some things from other places.
Okay.
Sarah can't go. Van Gogh.
Point. I mean, not with my roof leaking. But
did you get a chance to go to the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam?
I haven't yet. No,
you should go.
I've been haunting all the Van Gogh that there is in the U.S. So that's one thing I can claim, and I'm trying to save up to go and do, all of the Van Goghing in Europe. So
have you been to see the ones in Pittsburgh? They're not far away.
Those are people I didn't make. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not far from where you are. And Pittsburgh is a great city. It's my second favorite city after Wheeling. So, but they have two beautiful Van Goghs in their collection.
Which ones?
Let me look and I'll see real quick. Wheat Fields After the Rain, okay. And Le Moulin de la Galette. And I hope I'm saying that right. Okay. But one has that beautiful windmill on the hill, and the other one is, of course, the beautiful fields with those clouds that. Mm-hmm. Yes. And they have the Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh has great art. Well worth a visit. Yeah. So thanks again, Sarah, for being on. And I know we'll see you out there in the writer sphere, wherever that might be.
Absolutely. Y'all are, again, thank you so much for doing this. Y'all are amazing. And look.
Sweetie. That's her. Well, have a good rest of the semester. And everybody, we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks a lot, everyone, for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.